Test. High Superior Court for the State of Washington en banc, the Honorable George F.B. Apple presiding.
You may be seated. And good afternoon, and welcome, friends, family, members of the community, members of the bar, to the formal investiture of Judge Patrick Moriarty. I wish to draw attention to a number of people who are here, starting with Adam Cornell, our prosecutor. And also, we are joined today by three of our retired judges: Judge Ronald Castleberry, Judge Thomas Wynn, and Judge David Kurtz. And the current bench, comprising Judge Anita Ferris, Judge Bruce Weiss, Judge Joseph Wilson, Judge Richard Okren, Judge Mary Beth Dingledye, Judge Millie Judge, Judge Cindy Larson, Judge Jennifer Langdon, Judge Paul Thompson, Judge Anna Alexander, Judge Adira Nicolico, Judge Karen Moore, Judge John Scott, Judge Miguel Duran, and myself, Judge George Apple. Also present, Commissioner Susan Harness and Commissioner Lisa McKelly. And from our district court bench, we are pleased to have Judge Anthony Howard with us as well. And from across the street at Everett Municipal, Judge Ramey Leonard. This, as I said, is the formal investiture of Judge Moriarty. We actually put him to work a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't have something like this in order to memorialize the significant event of Judge Moriarty joining the bench. I think it is fair to say that Judge Moriarty is already well known in this community. He's been practicing law here for quite some time, and I was thinking back actually to when I first met him, which was when we had a completely different juvenile courthouse that stood where the juvenile building's parking lot is now. And he and I appeared, well, I think we appeared in front of some of the judges who are here today. Way back in the 90s, Judge Moriarty has been practicing law in this area for a good long while. He's known to all the areas of the bar and known to, I'm quite sure, all of you. And in that time, he's acquired a great deal of expertise and has a way, as you know, of thinking things through and addressing people and matters that is, I would say, very conducive to this kind of a job. We are very pleased to have Judge Moriarty join us here on the bench. With Judge Moriarty today, present in order to watch this, are his wife, Evelyn, and daughter, Emily. Also, his sister, Mary Colello, and her husband, Dr. Joseph Colello. and his sister, Nora Moriarty. And good afternoon to all of you. Also, his nephew, Anthony Colello, and his wife, Alex Colello, and his niece, Nora Colello. Welcome to you as well. In addition, there are many family members watching from Massachusetts, Kentucky, Chicago, North Carolina, and Florida. So welcome to each of you. I don't want to belabor my remarks. Judge Jennifer Langdon has a few things that I think you will want to hear. And Judge Langdon, would you please come forward at this time? Thank you.
Hi. I do not like public speaking, so I'm going to apologize right now, as ironic as that is, I understand. So just going to stand here a minute and try not to cry immediately. So thank you everyone for coming. It is not an overstatement to say that I am here in this robe because of Pat Moriarty. Well, he's certainly not the only reason, and I don't want to shortchange everybody else that has helped me be here along the way. It likely would not have happened had I not gone to work for Pat and Joey Z all those many years ago in Linwood. I interviewed with Pat and Joe, who had started a brand new law firm this spring after I graduated from law school in an unnamed year. For those of you who know them, you know what an amazing team the two of them are. They are unstoppable, and as different as they are personality-wise, they really complemented each other, and I knew immediately that I wanted to work there. I knew very little about dependency matters, which is probably why I thought that, but I did know that their firm was where I wanted to start my career, and that was one of the best and the smartest decisions that I have ever made. I think it is fair to say that if I have made any decisions or done anything that you've appreciated on the bench, you have Pat to thank in large part for that. If I've made mistakes or angered you, don't hang that on around his neck. But the good stuff does come from Pat. Pat is a natural mentor and teacher, which is why I remained there for the entirety of my career. And I really struggled, since you asked me to speak, with how I could really describe what that experience is like. And I think it's because you just have this really natural ability to mentor and lead people. And half the time, I think you don't even realize that you're being guided. And the best analogy I could come up with this weekend while playing with my 4-year-old was helping a toddler building blocks. And you help them pick the blocks and you let them stack them. And when that tower gets a little bit wobbly, you may gently tap the tower to straighten it, but you don't interfere. It's me, I'm the toddler in this scenario. And you let me pick my own blocks and you let me build my own tower and you made sure it never fell over, but you did not interfere. And I think that that was such a great way to learn. Pat's leadership style, for those of you who have not gotten to work with him, is focused on demonstrating rather than lecturing. He taught by example through stories and helped us discover our own answers and reach our own conclusions. Our firm was a small, slightly dysfunctional family, and that's really what Pat does. He brings groups of people together, finds common ground among them, and creates connections. He brought us his amazing sister, Mary, to be our paralegal and our work mom. Sorry for putting that on you. I'm not sure you knew you'd signed up for that. The other associates and I, some of whom are here today, would literally rush back at lunch so we could all order Jimmy John's and do the crossword puzzle together. And in the afternoons, we would bring our laptops to a central location and we would work in a really open concept environment. We'd share ideas and we'd help each other. The work we did was hard and it was sometimes heartbreaking and often frustrating. And the victories when they came were sometimes few and far between. And so we learned by seeing and not by being told that there was strength in the numbers we built between ourselves and that the support and understanding can be given in hundreds of different ways. Pat gave us a safe space to grow and learn as attorneys, a place to vent frustrations, to receive guidance, to share wins and share losses. He and Joey shared stories about their former cases, interactions with clients, attorneys, judges, etc. And through those stories, I got to know who Pat was, an attorney and as a human, and I was always impressed. His positive reputation in the community and his integrity were prized highly, and they were fiercely guarded, and rightfully so. And so we learned by seeing and not by being told that an adversarial system does not demand or even benefit from incivility, and that there's value in being gracious, and that it does not make you weak. And we learned that finding the humor in shared experiences could bring people together, that could help heal wounds and make it easier to move forward. And I hope that each of you gets to experience at least a little bit of that, because I still laugh at the stories we were told and that we shared. I promised Pat I would not share any of those today. But if you email me, I'll give you some keywords to ask him about, and those will be good. We had 2 office rules: be respectful to firm and court staff, and answer the phone when it rings. And the second rule is a bit of a paraphrase, but we were a small firm. We didn't have staff all the time. So you answered the phone and you wrote receipts and you took messages and you took deliveries and you calendared things. And you made sure, that the whole firm ran smoothly. And we learned that we were just one part of the whole. And that is really closely tied to Rule 1. I honestly believe that one of the only fireable offenses at Mojo would have been if Pat had learned that one of us had been rude to a clerk, a court reporter, or administrative staff. Pat could not abide attorneys who thought they were better than anyone simply because of their title or their role. He didn't allow it in the office. He didn't allow it as a pro tem. And he instilled in us from the outset the knowledge that each person in this courthouse and firm was important and served to be treated with kindness and respect, and that they usually have the best gossip. As I just mentioned, Pat was a pro tem for most of the time I worked for him. Over the years, I heard his stories and I heard feedback from others who had appeared in front of him. So I don't have to guess who you're getting as Judge Moriarty takes the bench. I know you're getting someone who will approach each case with an open mind. He will treat attorneys and litigants with kindness and with respect. He will ensure that civility is paramount in his courtroom, and he will guarantee that everyone is heard. He will be prepared, and he will know the law and the facts. He will not rule off the cuff or without a full understanding of the issues in the law. He will never put pride before duty and will always ensure that if he doesn't know something, he will ask. One of the most endearing things I came to learn about Pat was that he still got really nervous before a trial or a big motion. And as a young attorney, I was somewhat fascinated, and it seemed inconceivable. And frankly, I had hoped that I could look forward to not being really nervous before trials as my career went on. But I came to learn that this was not a lack of faith in himself, but a recognition of the gravity and the obligation that is involved with the practice of law. He never became complacent or lax in his practice, and I know that he will approach this position in the same way. Congratulations, Pat. I'm so happy for you in First Snohomish County. Welcome to the bench.
Thank you, Judge Langdon. And now I'll turn to Judge Moriarty's nephew, Anthony Colella. Would you please come forward, sir, and share a few remarks?
Hi, everyone. Judge Langdon, thanks for that. I felt the same way approaching this today, trying to figure out how to even start to encapsulate someone who's meant so much to you and that you look up to so much. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, and hopefully it gets across. So as we just heard, I'm Pat's nephew, and I'm really honored to be here. Thanks for letting me share this with you. About a month and a half ago, when Pat called me to share the news of his appointment, I was at dinner with a few friends, each of whom had known Pat for a year and a half, something like that. We played golf together. They've got to know him a little bit. And after I took the call and came back to the table and shared the good news, I expected polite congratulations, maybe some kind words to be shared along the way, and then for us to return to the previous dinner conversation. But instead, I was greeted with genuine jubilation, true, unadulterated excitement and pride about the announcement. There were demands for FaceTime calls, and the rest of the night was a celebration of Pat's accomplishment. And these people who had known him for only a brief time were truly and authentically happy to hear about what had happened and what he had accomplished. And then over the course of the next few weeks, I was lucky enough to see Pat share his news with a wide variety of people, friends, colleagues, family members. In each case, the reaction was the same, just true happiness for him. And I was struck by the earnestness of that reaction, the joy that people were feeling for him, and wondered why that was the case. After all, none of them had been pointed to anything. It was you. And I've been thinking about this for a while, and now I think I have it figured out. Each and every one of those people felt like they were sharing in this accomplishment with Pat, not for him. And that's due entirely to the type of person that my uncle is and has always been. Pat brings you in, whether you've known him for an hour, for your entire lifetime. You always feel included and valued and seen for who you are. No matter who you are or where you're from or why you might be meeting him, you're given the benefit of the doubt and seen for the best self that you can be. Pat has shown me that what it means to see the good in everyone, even when they're giving you every reason not to. He believes in the inherent goodness of people and treats them with the respect and the dignity that they deserve. I've watched my uncle work tirelessly for decades. As a public defendant, as a prosecutor in private practice and juvenile court, in every setting, he's always done things the right way, always been guided by his sense of what is right, been unwilling to compromise, even when it was the easier thing to do. He put his values ahead of his career advancement, and for that, I'll always have the utmost respect and admiration for you. In the end, the reason that there's been so much happiness and joy for him is because I think in life, when you see good things happen to people who work hard and are good people, it fills you with joy. It can't help but. So Uncle Pat, I know I speak for all of the Moriartys all over the place in states everywhere across the country, and for your friends and colleagues when I say I'm just so incredibly proud of you. Thanks for letting us share in this accomplishment with you. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Palillo. And now, Judge Moriarty, would you come forward? This thing we did a couple of weeks ago in my office, but not publicly and not for the benefit of friends and family in the community. So let's repeat it now. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Patrick M. Moriarty, do solemnly swear.
I, Patrick M. Moriarty, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of Superior Court Judge
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of Superior Court Judge
according to the law and to the best of my ability.
according to the law and the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Could I please have Judge Moriarty's family come forward in order to conduct the robing? Good afternoon.
With my wife Evelyn, my daughter Emily.
Nice to see you again, Evelyn. Nice to meet you, Emily. You have brought the robe with you?
I did.
At this time, you may place the robe on your husband. You know how to do that.
Yeah. Maybe not today.
You're doing a fine job. When it was my turn, I forgot to take my jacket off. Nearly passed out from the heat, so good job. Judge Moriarty, perhaps you have a few remarks, and I hope that you will share them.
I will, thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. For all the people who are present this afternoon. I'm going to start by saying thank you to make sure that I don't miss anyone. And I guess I need to start with Governor Inslee for appointing me to this position and giving me this opportunity. I have to say that it is extremely humbling and it makes me extremely nervous as I stand here today. I want to thank my wife.
I think it was this. Go ahead.
I want to thank my wife, Evie, and my daughter, Emily, for their never-ending love and support of me. There's just no doubt that I couldn't and would not be here without them. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank all the people in the Commissioner's Department, who my former colleagues and present colleagues as Commissioner, former cohorts in the Commissioner's Department, who've been so kind and supportive. I have enjoyed every moment of working with them. They have always been willing to help me and to listen to me and to answer my questions and support us, each other, actually, through everything that we do. This includes also the court staff, and I know some of you are here today. People from the facilitator's office, the people, Nancy Norris, who is sitting in front of me right now, who I absolutely don't think that our department could run without her, who works so hard to make sure that people get access to justice in our community, which is so important to us. I want to thank all the judges who are here today. I consider it an honor and a privilege to work with them. And I have an amazing amount of respect for their dedication and the hard work that they do, both on the bench and outside of the bench. I never knew the machinations of what takes place to keep the court running. And it has been an eye-opening experience to be a part of it. And I'm really impressed, and they have been supportive of me. They have been willing to reach out, answer any questions that I have, and I will have many going forward. So I apologize for that in advance to all of you. I want to thank the members of the bar who are present today and for their support and encouragement. We have a fantastic bar in Snohomish County. I'm consistently impressed by their dedication and their advocacy on behalf of their clients. And they constantly challenge me, and they know who they are. And we sometimes disagree, but we always, I think, treat each other with respect and listen to what we have to say, and ultimately respect the decision that gets made. Finally, I want to thank my family who are here, present in the court. My sister Nora, my nephew Anthony and his wife Alex, my sister Mary, my brother-in-law Joe, and my niece Nora. And also my family who are out there. Hello, everyone. Out in Massachusetts mainly, but also in Chicago and Kentucky. My wife's family who are watching, I know, down in Florida and North Carolina. Thank you very much for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. Many of you know that I spent a great deal of my time working in juvenile court with kids. And I'm just going to read this. I think I started as a public defender doing criminal defense work and ultimately worked in the offender drug court program. And I started with Judge Castleberry, who's here today. And I found that to be an amazing experience. Most of the kids I represented in juvenile court came from extremely difficult backgrounds: poverty, abuse, substance abuse, neglect. Quite honestly, people who've had the deck stacked against them. And contrary to that, I came from a middle-class family. I was privileged. I had a family who supported me, but that doesn't mean necessarily that life was always easy. 2 weeks after my 15th birthday, my mother passed away from a long battle with cancer. It was a difficult time for myself and certainly for my family. It's no joke today to say that things could have easily gone in a completely different direction for me, except for the love and support that I received from my family. The kids that I represented don't usually have that. And it was that realization that drew me to the work that I did in juvenile court. And it showed me that with a little guidance, you can make a big difference in people's lives. My father, who was a Superior Court judge in the state of Massachusetts, and my brother, CJ, who's watching today, who also was a judge in the Superior Court of Massachusetts. My father would sit down with me and tell me that the beautiful thing about the law is that you learn a little bit about so many different areas and subjects. And on that point, he was absolutely right. There's not a day that goes by that I don't learn something new as I sit, as I worked as an attorney and as I sit on the bench. It is, one of the most intellectually stimulating things that you can do as a human being. But there's something else I think that's important. And that is that I think our roles as advocates for the attorneys who are present today, the court staff who worked so hard to make sure that the justice system in our community continues to run, and the judges and the commissioners who rule on these issues that people have in their lives as they are touched in the juvenile and the adult judicial system, our whole judicial system, affect positive change in people's lives. And that's what draws me to this work. This is why I love to do it. This is why I love to work with everyone who is here. And I hope that I've done that in the past, and I hope that I will continue to do so in the future. So I want to thank everybody again for being here, and I will close it out with that.
Thank you, Judge Moriarty. Don't sit there. Please take your place on the bench where you belong. And thank you for your comments. And I would echo Judge Moriarty's comment concerning the bar in this county. And it's my view that the filling of the 16th and the 17th positions will help us maintain the high standards of this bench that were set years ago. Also, I don't believe I announced her. Judge Ennis Ellis is also present. So there's that. Now, there is a reception at the Courtyard Marriott Destination Ballroom, and we hope we will see you there. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Evelyn.
you.